Hey guys, you are listening to Thank Me for My Cervix, a podcast where we talk about all things mental health with a focus in the veteran and community. I knew I was gonna mess it up. The military and veteran community. Okay, I'm just gonna cheat, okay? No one's even here. I should have just cheated the whole time. I typed it out because I want to make a better intro. This is obviously not going to be a good example of a better intro because I've already messed it up, but that's fine. Can we start over? Hey guys. You are tuning in to Thank Me for My Cervix. We talk about all things mental health with a focus in the veteran and military community. I'm your host, Shauna Marie, USMC veteran. Oh, Clara requested to join. That's how behind I am. Okay. Hold on. USCC veteran and mental health advocate. Tune in every Sunday on Instagram at Thank Me for My Cervix and listen to all episodes of my past guests on Spotify. Today's guest is not only my blood sister, but she also became my Marine sister. Claire will be joining here in just a minute, and we'll be talking about our military experiences. For a little more in-depth background about mine and Claire's relationship, you can go on Spotify and listen to Sister Wooks, the Sister Wooks episode with me and Claire. Okay, I'm going to get Claire on here real fast. Oh, I need that. I just closed the book and had my notes. Okay, it might take a minute. There she is.
Hello.
Yay, your hair looks so good.
Oh, thanks.
I've already messed this up so much. I was like, I'm going to kill this intro, and it's finally going to have a good intro. I didn't at all.
Am I
How are
supposed
you?
to be able to see you?
Yeah, can you not see me?
No, it's black.
That's not right. Can everyone else see me? Can you see me? Can you see Claire? Yeah, you should be able to see me. Oh, I turned it off, and I'm gonna turn back on again. I want to be able to see you. Can you see both of us? You can't see Claire? Can you see Claire? Okay. Everyone can see us both. It's things
Okay.
that you can't see me.
That's fine. Moving on.
Okay, well, boo. I see. Okay, good. Yeah, they can see both of us. So we'll get started, and hopefully, maybe on your end, it will. I don't know. Try. Is there anything you can do on your end? Wait, we'll get started, and we'll see. Hopefully, it will save both of us. Okay. So I first off want to thank you for taking the time to come on here because I know how nerve-wracking it is to sit here and talk about, especially because talking about the military and talking about mental health and it's touchy-feely stuff, and I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy life to come on here and talk to me.
Of course, anything for you. You already know I'm nervous as hell, but
I know, me too.
For you, I'll do it.
I was telling, but before we went live, I was telling you know who that I was super nervous. He's like, you're not nervous. I'm like, no, I'm gonna mess this up bad, and I did, but that's okay. I can only have room for improvement. So since we already had that one episode together, I figured we would just kind of brush over the most interesting things and then answer any questions that people had here. And I wrote down just a few questions to guide us through that. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to start with you joining. When did you join?
I joined March in 2016.
Out of California, right?
Yeah, out of California.
But you
supposed to be soon.
In Paris Island?
Yeah.
Okay.
At the time, all females went to Paris Island. It hadn't switched yet.
Right. Which I don't think, I think we've looked it up. It's not that anymore. They go to both now.
Yeah, they do.
You know what's really awesome about having a really bad memory? When I have conversations with people over again, I can't remember anything, even family members, my memory is so bad. So it's I'm having a new conversation every time I do this. So, okay.
Yeah.
So you went to Paris Island. And then how did you pick your job, your MOS?
You helped me, actually. I know when I went, I was combat camera, and it wasn't available at the time. And when I told them, they were like, well, just because you want doesn't mean you can get it, especially that one, it's hard to get. And these are your three options, which were... MP
was one, right?
Yeah, because that's not what I picked. I picked something else, because I was supposed to leave in November of 2015. And they were like, 2 weeks before I was going to leave, oh, by the way, you ended up being military police. And I was like, that No,
Oh,
and you're the one who told me, we're like,
oh,
no, you don't have to do
I
that. Tell
wanted to
me
walk
you
back
better.
up in there and be
Yeah,
like, hell no.
yeah, and you were like, tell me you don't want to do it no more. And so I was like, all right, so I did. And at the time, I worked at Domino's on Camp Pendleton, and
Underrated
like
job.
during, yeah,
Cut you off. Still to
no,
this
you're
day,
good.
one of my favorite jobs that I've ever had was being a driver at Domino's and a manager to this day.
Yeah, and honestly, working on base, interacting with drunk Marines, they're so
Yeah,
dumb.
I
They're
know.
so dumb, but it like makes your night. So like you could have a shitty night, but then they're so stupid, and it just
I
like makes your whole
know.
like I got
Or as
called
soon as they
for
get paid on
Domino's.
payday, they tip like $30 for no reason. You're like, I know next week I'm going to come here and you're not going to tip me anything because you blow it
Oh,
all on your first time.
yeah, no,
But
like
anyway,
literally,
but
like I had gone and like a bunch of drunk Marines were like, "Oh my God, you're the Domino's angel," and they're like, "What? Like, how much was it?" And I told them like, "Oh my God, you're the Domino's devil," and then they're like, "Sorry, this is all I have," and I'm like, "It's fine," and then everyone in the room's like, "No, wait, here," and they all gave me whatever's in their wallet. I was like, "Y'all are ridiculous, but thank you," you know.
okay.
But
Yeah,
anyway,
that's how they are. So then you decided to join. Okay, so you were working at Domino's.
yeah, and the recruiter had called me on my break and was like, well, I fought tooth and nail for you. I was on the phone for 2 hours. I got you what you wanted, your combat camera if you still want to join. So
I
he
knew
got
that
he
would happen. That always happens. They magically make it appear when you tell them you don't want to do it anymore. Okay, so then they gave you a date. Did you live with me and worked at Domino's until you left, right?
no, I left a little bit sooner. I was living with a friend and then
Okay.
um yeah, and then I left.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then what was your first duty station?
It's at Miramar in California. I got lucky. It was great because I got to fly all of the
No.
time. I got to
I
yeah, and I
was in the
still got to
air wing
experience.
and you flew more than me.
Yeah, I literally like pretty much were hanging out of the aircrafts, and it was so much fun. So
What I think is really important that we should talk about too is on your photography page, do you have some of your imagery from when you were in the Marines? I just remember one was super awesome that you did with it was like
fun.
almost silhouettes.
Are you talking about the recon one at night?
Yes.
Yeah, they actually used it in the recruiting pamphlet. But yeah, that was the recon picture. I don't know if I ended up taking him down shortly after getting out. But I kind of want to post more. I should post more of them from because I might have just hit them, to be honest. I know they were uh, um, on my Facebook one, but I don't use that one that often.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so bad about Facebook. We have a great question. What were some of the places you were able to travel doing combat?
I wish I got to go to more places, but I got injured. But I know I got to fly a lot, so I did go to 29 Palms for like a day. But and then I was in
That's it.
yeah, and then I was at the Devil's Butthole, aka Yuma, for WTI, which honestly was fun for
I
me
love
because
Yuma. I
I
think
didn't
we've
have to
talked about
stay
this.
in the field. Yeah, I think we have too. I know a lot of people don't like it because they have to stay in the field. And like for other MOSs, I can see why it sucks. But for mine, I got to experience every single aspect. Like I worked with infantry, I worked with recon, I worked with the air wing. I literally worked with
Yeah.
everybody, motor team, the whole gang. And then I did get to go on a little mini deployment. It was supposed to be like 4 months, but it got cut in two. It's called Koamwana. We were supposed to go to 7 different islands, but the ship that we were going to be on broke down. And then, like, after 2 weeks, they're like, oh, no, something else is broken. And then, oh, something else is broken. Something else is broken. We don't have a door that's open. So, like, 2 months go by and we finally get to go. And so I got to go to Palau, which was, like, honestly, so beautiful. Like,
I remember us
people
talking about
don't
that.
know. Yeah, people don't really know about Palau, like, but they're one of our territories. Like, the people are amazing. The place is absolutely beautiful. Like, there are waters, like, you have to pay to even swim in them. And if you, like, trash it at all, like, leave one little thing, you're fined, like, $1,000. Like, that's how much, because they have a lot of coral and stuff. Like, it's beautiful. And we were supposed to go to, like, Yap and stuff, but every time, like, we couldn't get off the boat because the tide was too low. So we did get to go to Guam, though, because we had to stop to fuel in there. So we got to see Guam, which is also very
Yeah,
beautiful. So
that's like top bucket list for me is Guam and Palau
yeah,
because you told me. But
yeah.
I'm just like, you were just gonna test out every place for me, and then you're gonna let me know, and then I'll go after.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've been. This is not related to the military, but you went to Germany too, and told me how great that was.
Yeah. Germany's like one of my favorite places. Like, I want to go back so bad. I love Germany. Like, I love Germany.
Dylan and I, our baby daddy, we were talking about how when you go to certain places overseas, because even he, like when he went to go visit, it feels like a part of you becomes a little more whole again. And like, because it's so, in like living in America is such a tiny part of who we are as, you know, like our family heritage and our history. So when we go to places where our families lived much longer, that place feels more natural to us.
Yeah.
You felt that too. I want to go so bad.
I want to go back so bad. There's so much place.
Okay, so then you got to do the Palau and Guam, and
Yeah.
then was this all while you were stationed in Myanmar?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you went to Virginia at some point.
No, Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. I thought
Yeah,
you were
4th
at.
Marine Corps District.
Oh, what did you do there?
I got to sit at a desk, and it was not fun. 10/10, don't recommend.
How did you
It
end up
wasn't.
going there?
Well, at the time, I was injured and I was going on a med board. I figured it was close to mom because, you know, she's out here in Pittsburgh, and that was more towards Philly. And someone had emailed me, and they're like, I requested West Coast to be with my like husband. I see that you have, because I was supposed to just go to Pendleton originally, to one of their units, and she asked to switch, and I was like, I don't care. Like, you know, I'm gonna go on a med board, and I'm supposed to get out soon-ish, like a year and some change anyway, or 2 years, whatever. Anyways, so I said yeah, and then it sucked. So.
Yeah. So is that what made you want to get out? Was the med board?
Yeah. Well, I didn't really have a choice. So,
Yeah. If you
because some
did
Marines.
have a choice, would you have still gotten out when you did?
I probably would have done at least one more enlistment because I really did want to do like a true deployment, and there was more I wanted to do.
Yeah. I mean, you were good at your job.
I loved it. Like, if I could have like done more of like actually, um, like obviously like the flying, like I wanted to do like a real deployment. I wanted to go see more of the world. I wanted to do more, and I didn't get that chance because I got injured and tried. And then the Marine Corps, I got in my head was like, you need to suck it up. You're more lingering, when I wasn't. So I did try and do that, and then I failed. So, and it kind of screwed me in the end.
Your injury ended up getting worse as your career went on because they weren't taking your injury serious.
Correct.
Which is something that is a big, like, I feel like that's a problem. I feel like,
especially because as a female, they really didn't take me seriously.
I know, because there is such a large, you know, I'm not even gonna say that. We get injured easier, and it stinks that some people will use that as a motive to get out of certain work, certain job things. But that affects people who are truly injured that cannot participate in these things.
Yeah.
So where's like, how do we decipher the two, and how do we keep them separate? Because I knew like disabled, unfit men in the air, especially in the air wing, you know, and
They don't get questioned.
No one really cared as much as that, except for the, you know, they cared more about the girl who got pregnant twice and wasn't going on deployments. But that same guy is 40 pounds overweight. He's not going on deployments either, but we're more worried about, granted, we should be worried about the female who keeps getting pregnant and is not, you know, what should we separate her because she's not meeting physical requirements. My question would be, is that female, you know, making an effort in other ways? Because there are so many jobs in the Marine Corps that are, you know, paper pushers or people who can, like, that messes me up when you do that. Yeah. Spencer texts me slow. When I get on a thought, I just will go, and then I'll just randomly see a text on my whole phone, like, slow down. What was I saying?
That like there's different jobs for females to do.
Oh yeah. So instead of, like, even for me when I got pregnant my first time, I was only pregnant once when I was in. Mm-hmm. They moved me from working on the aircrafts up to being in the adjutant office. I just processed paperwork, and then, but I was different because I was still running PFTs and CFTs when I was pregnant up until the 20.
Probably shouldn't have been doing that.
Yeah. Well, also remember when I was 23 weeks pregnant, we were Tootsie rolling, and
I caught you.
I sprained my knee from Tootsie
Yeah.
rolling. So,
Zumba.
but I just run 3 miles like 2 weeks before that. How does that happen? I don't know. I remember like 20 weeks is like, that's when I started to like pop. And I think I should have just started to slow down then, but I was like, no.
Yeah, I do remember because I was looking, you can see us in the mirror, and I just saw it, and I just like dove and caught your belly.
That was not fun. And my knee
No, it was terrifying.
to this day will randomly give out like it did that day. Like just randomly. I'll be perfectly fine. And then my ligament will just be like, nah, fam. And like I'll fall all the way down. But I do feel like that men and women, as far as that, aren't treated the same.
No, absolutely not.
That, like how do you fix it? I think we should put a focus on marine health. I was talking to somebody else, or maybe I even heard this on another podcast about how the different branches, how like they're treated,
Mhm.
and the Marines or like the Navy, they're treated as like a part of the family individually. Army is like a really true brotherhood. Marines, they're like objects almost sometimes, and like all we care about is this mission. And if you aren't healthy enough for this mission, then you need to go. We'll get someone who is healthy.
Yeah.
Obviously until you get certain ranks, but even within like, the staff sergeant ranks, like if you're not gonna do what I'm gonna say, then I'll replace you. Or if you're not gonna do good with this job, then I'll replace you. And different branches, you'll see that treat people differently. The ranks really do matter. And I feel like once you get the sergeant major in the Marine Corps, or even first sergeant, then you're like, oh, okay, now this person's very important,
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's where all the bad starts because they have such bad mentalities, and like all the good Marines end up getting out because they're treated so poorly. So all the shitty ones stay, and they hit those ranks, and then it just trickles down.
I know. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna go further our questions. Oh, I love this one. What would you tell yourself in the past about you getting out? Like, what do you wish you knew as you were getting out?
I know during the med board, another like a gunny even told me, he's like, you should have fought for retirement, which I should have because I was right there. So it was originally 90%, but in my mind, I just wanted to get out because one, I wasn't getting treated very well by
And
a
they had
female.
already dragged this out,
They
right? You
did, yeah. Everyone like
when
when I had got to that unit, like I hadn't even known the SEWO existed, and they were like, oh, another injured female Marine. Sure, another female Marine had to be like, yeah, she already has surgery scheduled. Like, what are you talking about? Like, and then this female Marine had like,
injured.
yeah.
Thing that happens.
And then my female gunny who had just gotten there had like a stick up her butt, and we're like, this isn't like the real Marine Corps. Like, we run things differently, but she wouldn't accept that. And then on top of that, my dad had cancer, and I was like, she's not going to let me go see my dad. She's going to be an ass about it. I'm like, I just have to get out. I have to be there. I have to spend time with my father. Like, so I wish I would have stuck it out just a little bit longer, made it work to go see my dad instead, and try to get the retirement because it just would have made things easier. Yeah. And not trying to, suck it up. Same with my injury. I wish I didn't suck it up.
As someone
like not listen to anybody like that.
Experienced the med board process. How did that work?
It's a lot of waiting around, honestly. Like it starts, like they'll put it up for you if I can, like, okay, brace my memory. And then you have to like do a bunch of. It's honestly, I feel like it's kind of similar for when you get out and you want to go through your disability because you have to go through like all of the medical where they examine you for everything, and they'll have to be able to see like, are you able to run a PFT? Are you able to run a CFT? Are you able to keep up to your standards? And they decide if you can or not, and then they give you your disability rating, and then they help you get out. They help you start school, help you get places. Like honestly, like that's it's just a really long waiting period. Like they make you wait pretty long.
And and then like essentially your EAS date got removed, right? Until the med board whatever.
No, you keep your EAS date until your med board's approved. Okay. Because if you don't get it fixed before your EAS date, don't take my word for it. I think you have to continue until you get med boarded. I think. Extend? Yeah, okay. I think. But I'm not 100% sure on that. Don't take my word for it. But I do know, like, I had my I had my date, and then once my med board was approved, then my date changed from March 2021 to August of 2020.
Okay. Okay. And August of 2020 is when you got out?
Yeah, but I took I did terminal, so I technically left in July.
Okay. How was transitioning out for you?
It was kind of hard because I was going through a lot. Like I said, my dad was dying from cancer.
When did your
So
dad pass? I'm sorry, the date, the year. So you got out in 2020.
he passed in 2020
That's
in
what I thought.
September.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Before
He
or
passed
after your EAS?
after,
Okay.
shortly after. I had tried going to Oklahoma first, and like I was gonna start school. I had like a week of classes, and like no, I need to be there for my dad. So I had gone home. I kept going back and forth between Oklahoma and home to make sure to spend time, and I was there for the last few weeks.
And all of
To help take care of him and stuff.
meanwhile transitioning out of the Marine Corps and trying to figure out that your husband was he still in, or did he get out before or
No,
after you?
he got out way before.
Okay.
Actually, it was like a year and a half. He wanted to stay in, but his career planner was lazy and kind of screwed him over. Yeah, he told him like, listen, I just got married, like she can't leave, like she can't switch yet. He's like, I want to stay in, like I'll even keep my job. I just want to stay in California. And he's like, nope, can't do that. Sorry. And so my husband, Cameron, he signed the papers to get out. And actually, it was on Christmas Eve. I remember we're
Oh
at a
no.
gas station, and he got a call from his first sergeant, and he was like, McIntyre, what the fuck? Like, why aren't you staying in? He's like, I literally told him all I wanted was to stay in California. And he's like, we could have made that happen, but at that point it was too late because he already signed all the paperwork.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So when he first got out, what did he do?
He went and started working from the pipeline because I was literally about to go on that little mini deployment thing.
What he still does now, right? He still works for like different pipeline jobs?
Yeah, kind of. So he was a welder's helper before, and now he's a heavy equipment operator, but he's like in charge position,
Okay.
a foreman if I'm correct. But yeah.
I feel like that's a lot of Marines do that, or even like power lining afterwards, because they're just like certifications that you can get, and then bam, you're back to work. Because a lot of Marines, maybe not just Marines, like military vets, we're out of school, we're over it, half the time. So doing things like certificates, like cosmetology, this is easier. But okay, and so I'm gonna go on with our other questions. Oh, okay. If you could do it all over again, would you still join the Marines? And if so, why? Or another branch?
No, I'd still join the Marine Corps. Honestly, it may have been hard, it may have been shitty at times, but the people you do meet and the like places you do get to go were like it is awesome. Like I loved my job. I loved like what I got to do, and I would absolutely do it all over again.
I love that answer. I'm glad you feel that way. I probably would have picked the Air Force, honestly. No, I would have been more of an Air Force girl, but that's okay. I did the Marines. I'm proud to be Marine.
I only did
but
pick the Marines because of you.
I was Air Forcer in the Marines technically because I'm an air winger, so
that's true.
I do a lot of the fun stuff all the time. But
yeah,
I loved it. I mean, but that's one thing about being I'm a super pogue. That's okay. Okay, I accept that. That is fine. I'm still a Marine pogue. That's more than what most people can say. So that's fine. I'm also a boot because I never deployed. So
I mean, I technically am too. I don't really count my little mini deployment as a deployment, so
it's a sergeant pogue boot for those not in the Marines. Okay. But yeah. So getting your VA benefits, was that easier for you because you were medically separated, or did it like directly translate?
Yeah. So like my med board and stuff like that. Is I didn't go to Okie.
We had Marines that went on they were supposed to go on a MU like all over, and then it broke down in Okie. And then when they came back, they still had the audacity to be like, we went on a deployment. I'm like, and no, you didn't. No, you didn't. That was not a deployment, my friend. That was a vacation. We saw the Snapchats, homie. Anyway,
Yeah, no, honestly, getting out I already had my disability rating, I already had my benefits set in line, like everything was already taken care of for me when I got out.
I love
So
it.
everything that everyone goes through, like when they first get out, having to wait, and I've already like that's literally what I go through
Why is
during the med board
there
after.
something in place that they do that with everybody who EASs?
I don't know,
That would have saved me so much time.
and I should save everyone time. I don't
Well, think
know.
about it. You just said it's the same physical general concept that they would do for you. If they made a way to process it so that it was quicker, more Marines
Yeah.
would get it. More Marines get the help that they need. That's crazy.
And what sucks too is like if it's not documented while you're in either, then you're not going to get it. Like you have to document it. You can't just be like, oh, I have this, because then they'll be like, well, you've never said anything. It's too
To an
late now.
extent, there are some exceptions because other than going to the hospital just to get checked after my PTSD bisexual assault,
Hmm.
I would luckily that was on there because if I didn't have that, they were like, oh, well, at first they denied me saying that I had no proof of sexual assault. Um, but then my lawyer, I had a lawyer, and she was like, she actually, if you look back on this date, she went in for testing, all this stuff, and they were like, oh crap, and then they were like, here's like documented proof that she has like all these problems from
Yeah.
this, and then I got so.
Well, yeah,
At first,
if you could prove that it happened while you're in, then they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But sometimes it's really hard and they're very stingy and they'll go out of their way to make sure to be like, nope. You know what I
of
mean?
course, it is
So,
more simple and quicker when you get things documented. Yeah, while you're in.
mm,
I agree. Well, and like I said, I wonder who, if there was a way to start a program within the military that would allow that would be a more set up way for people to get the benefits. Because I think doing that, like once you could be more certain on those numbers, so when people get out, you could be like, this is permanent, like whatever, and then that way when they want to dispute it, they'd have to get a lawyer. Like it would be more, because you're like, well, we for sure had someone evaluate you on your way out. You know what I mean? And this was the rating that we gave you when you left. And I know like Marines that did that. But I wish it was a more like easier access, more provided for everybody, because I feel like TRS is supposed to be that of some sort, but it's just so unorganized and so not well done and not consistent, because I've seen people, I went to two TRSs and both of them were vastly different, and the information that was provided really at both was not that helpful, because I felt like it was so much information crammed in 4 days, and that's our stuff, but it's still not the best program. No. So.
yeah. My TRS was based for officers because where I was at was an officers college,
Oh, okay.
like high ranking
Oh
officers, not just officers, but like
yeah,
people
because
retiring.
you were in PA.
Hmm.
And I feel like
Yeah.
because there are so much less Marines there, that those types of programs are easier to guide because you have less people that you're trying to maneuver, because you're like, this is Marine Corps related and we only have so many Marines here.
Yeah.
But it would be cool if it was a more, but then like how do you prevent, I guess so a lot of people would be getting the benefit. I think we should want a lot of people to get benefits. But I think that that's not the goal. The goal is
No,
not to
the
get,
government doesn't want that
no, we
because that's no
have
payout.
money for the rest of our lives because of the trauma and stuff that they've given us from being in the military.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna see if I have any more questions. No, oh, vocational rehab. You're using that now, right?
Yes, I am.
I would love to touch just a little bit on that. How did you find out about that route?
That was from the med board that because if you even have 10% of disability, you can have voc rehab,
It's
which means you'll
awesome. I
still,
love vocational
yeah,
rehab.
and you can still use your GI Bill. So, but you can't use it if you used all your GI Bill. So you go through voc rehab, and then once you finish that program, if you want to get more education like your master's, but even voc rehab, from what I was told originally, was that if your job like requires it, like you can't get a job without it, they will even push you through the master's. But like if you want another degree or another master's program afterwards, you can still use your GI Bill.
Yeah.
So Yeah.
Um, I really love that. What are you using yours for? You're gonna be the art teacher?
Yeah.
Is that what? I'm excited for you. That's so exciting. Is it gonna be? Are you going up to bachelor's?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna get my bachelor's in it, and then I eventually want to get my master's.
That's really awesome. Well, okay. Well, thank you so much. That was all the questions I had. 30 minutes is like perfect because I will add an intro and an exit, a better intro. I really do appreciate you coming on here and talking to me with everything. I
Of
really am thankful.
course.
All
Of
right.
course.
Thank you so much. And I will probably text you right after this.
All
I
right,
love you
sounds
guys.
good. Okay, love you. Bye.